It was a good night all around for the Timberwolves, and especially for Julius Randle, who had 12 points in the first quarter and ended up leading Minnesota in scoring tonight with 25. And the Timberwolves roll to the 124-109 win over the Suns. It's a season sweep over Phoenix. Minnesota won all 4 games in this matchup. Welcome to Wolves Live from Target Center with Rebecca Brunson. I'm Marnie Gellner. Julius Randle kind of got the tone set early, especially because Anthony Edwards left late in the first quarter and did not return until after halftime. He is fine, but it was Julius Randle who kind of picked up the pace, picked up the scoring, and carried the Timberwolves and kept that energy up.
He really set the tone for this offense the entire game. You know, if you think about what he was able to do in the first quarter, he had 12 points in that first quarter, so he really looks to be aggressive and get downhill. He had 12 points in the paint through the game, so his physicality was there consistently. And then he started sharing the basketball, and that's where things got great for what he was able to do offensively. The combination of, if I can find my shot, I'm going to find my shot. But if I can create shots for my teammates, I'm going to do that as well. He had 8 assists, so he equated for 19 points off of his assists. You add that with his 25 points that he was able to score. So it was just what we've seen from Julius Randle as of late, right? He has been the guy that has been leading the Timberwolves as far as assists is concerned, right? He's been the one that has been consistently finding his teammates as well as finding his own offense. So I think what he did in this game is just a continuum of what he's been doing lately for the Wolves offense. He has continued to be a bright spot. He has continued to figure out how to mold his own offense with his ability to pass the basketball, to get his teammates shots on time and on target. So it was just a really good game overall for him offensively. You talked about carrying the load when Ant went out, but he didn't fall off when Ant came back into the game. He's just been consistent, which he has been as of late.
And this well-rounded version of Julius Randle is the best version of Julius Randle. When he adds the 6 rebounds, 8 assists, it just makes such a difference in this game for the Timberwolves. Speaking of making such a difference, that's what Rudy Gobert did tonight with a double-double. Michael Grady and Jim Peterson, Rudy had an energy and a jump to his game tonight.
Yeah, and one of the things that we had throughout this ball game that Jim Pete had mentioned and Chris Finch had talked about before the ball game, the word physicality. Yeah, bringing the physicality back, and they wanting to be that to be present during this late push as they make a postseason run. And lo and behold, it was Rudy Gobert once again setting the tone with his physicality, his 3rd straight double-double.
It's the reason why Minnesota brought Rudy Gobert here is to be a double-double guy, to be a defensive presence, and to win playoff series like he did against Phoenix last year. And so the thing that, after being dominated last year in the regular season by the Phoenix Suns, Minnesota was able to beat them in the playoffs last year and continue that series here during the regular season because of physicality. And it was really incumbent upon Rudy Gobert to set the tone, and he and Julius Randle did. And it wasn't just the scoring for Rudy. He did have 17 points. It's the 11th time this season Rudy has had 17 points or more this year. But this is one of my favorite games because Minnesota needs to win these games down the stretch. They're getting into playoff mode right now. The physicality that he showed, the ball screen action, being able to get up there at the point of attack and redirect Devin Booker and take him out of the game. I mean, they literally took him out of the basketball game. And then also, same thing with Tyus Jones. We saw Rudy get up there at the point of attack, even switching, which is something people said he couldn't really do. Rudy is so able to now get on the floor and defend, Michael. And then the screening actions that he does, Rebecca can speak to that too, because what she did as a great player that Rebecca was, she screened for all these great offensive players that the Minnesota Lynx had, so she understands it, and Rudy does it night in and night out, and it's just so fun to watch this guy operate at a high level.
You mentioned the steals that he had in this ball game, that with his 17 points, 13 rebounds, as I mentioned, 3 straight double-doubles, and after the game he was able to catch up with our Katie Storm.
Rudy, you guys bounced back in the win column in a dominant way. The first 4-game sweep of the Phoenix Suns in franchise history in over 20 seasons. What did you like most about this win tonight?
I love the way we moved the ball. I thought that was one of our best games of the year, and the competitiveness on the defensive end.
Yeah, let's talk about the defense. That's what stood out in the first 3 meetings with Phoenix. It looked like it was at its best tonight. What went behind the defensive activity at a high level?
I thought we had a great start. That was one of the issues that we had in the previous games. And tonight we did a great job in the first quarter. And then that set the tone for the whole game.
We got to talk about you. You hear the Rue chants in here. It was a fun game. You have another double-double in this one. Coach Finch really talked about how much he's liked your rebounding as of late. Last couple of months, you've stepped that up. Another big night on the glass. How have you been able to reach a new level with your rebounding?
I think it starts with the mindset. I try to set the tone for the team, and I know that in order for us to win, I need to be dominant. So I try to bring it every night.
You brought it tonight. Congrats on the win, Rudy. Thanks.
Thank you.
Rudy Gobert with 17 points, 13 rebounds tonight against the Suns. And you heard Rudy talking a little bit about the defense and the standout individual defensive effort for the Timberwolves against Phoenix anyway was against Devin Booker, who averages 25.5 points per game, had 10 points tonight. But maybe more impressively was that the Wolves held him to 4 of 14 shooting,
yes,
and 0 for 6 from 3.
It was smothering. I mean, there were a lot of opportunities where Devin Booker would come off of a certain offense and the Wolves would trap it, or they would stay and make him give it up. And he had a couple turnovers in those situations. But it's not easy to limit a guy that is such offensively minded. Devin Booker wants to score the basketball. Yes, we talked about his assists and his ability to share, but they've made him give it up. We just talked about Rudy, right? You heard Jim talk about his being able to stretch and play on the perimeter and guard guys. He put Devin Booker in some difficult situations. So it wasn't just like Devin Booker was missing shots. The Wolves had made a concerted effort to make everything that he did difficult, whether it was coming off of a screen, whether it was playing in isolation, whether it was him trying to get into his mid-range action or get downhill, whatever it is, the Wolves were there with high hands, contest, activity, either a single coverage or bringing a double to the ball. You saw it was guards, it was bigs, it was everybody. So yes, if you look at the Phoenix Suns offensive, they shot 51%, right? So it wasn't like the Wolves did a tremendous job all over the place. But if you can take one of the main guys out of it and make everybody else have to figure out how they're going to step up and cover for them, they're already missing Bradley Beal. That was huge, right? They forced Kevin Durant into a lot of difficult shots too, even though he was still able to come in and score 23. But the Wolves defense, it was aggressive. They paid attention to detail and they made it difficult for Phoenix. Yeah. They didn't shut them out, but they made things difficult. And Devin Booker did not have a good night.
10 points in 39 minutes on the court tonight for Devin Booker. And the Timberwolves, while putting up a good defensive effort, also had good offense in the fact that they made 19 threes. The average for the Wolves this season is 15 made three-pointers. So they were over that with 19 and shot 49% from 3 tonight.
I appreciate this so much because when we came into this show, we talked about how the Wolves had a very lackluster three-point shooting game in their last showing versus the Indiana Pacers. They shot like 27% from 3, right? So to have them lock in with the mentality that we are going to get back to being an efficient three-point shooting team because that's who we are. Yes, throughout the season, when you look at the season series with Phoenix Sun, they shoot 42%. So this was a great team to face when you're trying to find your three ball again. But I love the fact you see Anthony Edwards, 40% from 3. Dante DiVincenzo shot it well. Nas Reed shot it well. Mike Conley even came in and hit some really big threes. So as a team, they were really locked in. They noticed a huge part of their identity, and they came out. They knocked down shots. It was efficient, and it was fun to watch.
It was a good part of this game tonight, and there was a lot to like about this game tonight. What did the head coach like? We'll find out when we hear from Chris Finch after this break. The Timberwolves beat the Suns tonight, 124-109, the final score from Target Center. Now 8 games remain in the regular season for Minnesota. Here's Chris Finch and his thoughts after the win tonight.
Coach, you talked about how you really liked the mindset of a handful of your guys in the previous 3 meetings with the Phoenix Suns this season. What did you think about that mindset? Was it out to show again in this one?
Yeah, I mean, our defensive intensity was back. We're really good on the ball, just aggressive, super handsy. a game like this, you got to fly around sometimes too. I thought we did a pretty good job. I thought Rudy was really good at the rim. So when we did run him off or force him inside, he was there. And, I thought Jaden was really, really special tonight defensively. So, we need more of that. We just got to keep doing that. So.
Yeah, and with the entire defense, I mean, was it at a level one of the best you've seen in any game this season?
I mean, we have this in us. We've seen it. We got to see it all the time now. And this is how we had been playing, like more of a kind of a playoff urgency to what we were doing tonight, whether it be just getting after it or really good execution on the game plan. It's just got to keep doing it. It's been our thing. So.
Chris, Jaden obviously did a great job on Booker, and then I think he blocked Katie's turnaround in the lane too. I mean, just few people that have the ability to be able to go up and get that. Yeah,
that's kind of what we were talking about earlier in the pregame. Just having multiple guys to be able to throw at them and wear them all down and stuff. And I thought everybody did a great job of competing. And obviously he can one of the few guys and nearly match his length because that shot's pretty much unguardable if you don't get a block on it, which isn't easy to do. So, yeah, a lot of really special moments defensively tonight. That was certainly one of them. So.
And, I mean, does Rudy just have to be your tone setter?
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, he's got to play like, defensive player of the year that he's been and just, he was huge around the rim, just setting the tone. And then, as we get more aggressive on the ball and, they might think twice about coming to the rim. So
how do you explain this in a year that's been inconsistent largely, that the same opponent has brought the same result and the same intensity? Like, is that just getting up for a certain team? Is it matchup related? Like, how do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, it speaks a little bit to, maybe, when we play these teams in the playoffs, you get to know them so well. Some bad blood often comes in, and it becomes a little bit more personal. And certainly, I know some of our guys take it that way, and we see it in the results. But every game has got to be personal in regards to what we're trying to do here. So, but yeah, to answer your question, I think familiarity certainly breeds some of that.
Julius kind of set the tone offensively early for you after a couple tough games for him. Just what did you want him to refocus on that end of the floor today? Yeah,
I mean, just doing what he does really well, like flirting with a triple-double. He had 8 assists tonight, and moving the ball, making quick decisions. I think the first play of the game was a corner kick out for Jaden. We couldn't ask for like a better play if we scripted it. Julius creating offense for somebody who we need to, stay as a part of our offense, Jaden. So, but yeah, I thought, then we played through him at the top of the floor a ton and just, we need that all the time. And, that was part of the recipe that was so effective, a few weeks ago. So.
The Timberwolves effective against the Suns tonight. Julius Randle had 25 points to lead Minnesota in scoring, and we'll hear from Randle next. Looking at our Menards game summary tonight in the 124-109 win by the Timberwolves, Minnesota reached the 100-point mark for the 50th straight time. That's the longest active streak in the NBA. I almost said WNBA, but summer season. And Rebecca, we heard Chris Finch talk about this earlier, just the urgency and the jump that the Timberwolves had tonight. That is part that we don't see on this stat sheet here that we needed to see in this game tonight.
Right. I mean, it was about the energy. You look at the stats here and they're very similar. So it's hard to tell where the difference came in. But if you think about the Wolves able to get 54 points in the paint versus the Phoenix Suns getting 40 points in the paint, I think that really helped in this way. The Wolves also got 13 second chance points and they out-rebounded the Phoenix Suns 43-34. So those are the things that don't necessarily seem like they're going to make a massive impact, but I think that's where the Wolves were able to get the separation.
Yeah, find separation where you can get it. That's what the Wolves did tonight. Julius Randle led the way in scoring with 25 points. Here is Julius from the Timberwolves locker room.
Just to bounce back in this kind of way, how important was it tonight?
Really important. When we play like that, we feel like, we're the best team in the league. So we just got to keep that mindset, that intensity, and guarding like that every game. And, we give ourselves a great chance to win every night.
What fueled the defense? I mean, it was on fire all throughout this one.
I mean, it just started with guys on the perimeter guarding. Jaden, what he did tonight was unbelievable. When he plays like that, it just takes our team to another level. Ant was great on KD tonight as well. So it just lifts us. It gives us a different energy, a different level.
You came into this one on a group. I mean, was there anything different about this game tonight that just made you feel a little extra ready from the start?
No, I mean, we had, some good days off and, got some good work in, and just wanted to come out and be aggressive, get to my spots, get downhill and, make the right plays from there.
So when you're in the league, you might be aware of somebody's reputation, but when you are teammates with a guy like Jaden, what do you come to appreciate maybe the most about him and what he can do on a night in, night out?
Yeah, it just makes my job easier. It makes everybody's job easier, and like I said, it's just a different energy, a different level, it's a dominance to our team out there is what it feels like.
Julius, how do you kind of bottle this going forward and making sure that this is not just one, but that you can stack these kind of performances up?
Yeah, I mean, whatever our mindset was coming in tonight, we just got to keep that. We know what it takes to play at this level. We've done it many times throughout this year. We just got to keep being consistent in it and not get too high, not get too low.
Did you have any more, in terms of your aggression offensively tonight? Did you want to set a tone on that end of the floor, how quick you got out?
Yeah, I just, from the start, I was just I'm going to be aggressive, and that don't mean necessarily scoring ball. I was scoring the ball, had my open looks, but just being aggressive as far as just attacking, and making plays from there.
Curious, with the Rudy, maybe really strong defensive game here too, but I'm curious, offensively, it seems like you guys are finding him more and how he's fitting into this. But how has that been coming along? How are you guys playing with him offensively?
It's good, man. When he plays like that, and I tell his ass all the time, I'm like, Rudy, get to the dunker. If you get to the dunker, bro, I'm going to find you, So it's like when he gets, he flattens the defense out, he gets to the bottom of the floor, he sets screens, and he rolls hard, and he collapses the defense. Even if he might not get it, it's a positive for our team. So, he got to keep playing with that energy because, we know what he's going to do defensively. And I think, when he's getting those looks, it also energizes him defensively. So it's just he was contesting everything, that came in the paint tonight. He played great defense. So it's just when Rudy played like that too, we're a tough team to beat.
You found him on your Mike had that pick and roll. You found him on the short roll and that lob there. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, it's he down there because it's the big got to choose. Is he gonna step up? He gonna guard me? Is he gonna take away the lob for Rudy? You know what I mean? So it's just I'm telling him he down there, bro. I'm gonna find him. You know what I mean? And get him some easy ones.
Randle did have 8 assists tonight for the Timberwolves, who will now turn their attention to the Detroit Pistons. It's a win for the Timberwolves tonight over the Suns. Mike Conley gave Minnesota 13 points tonight. Here's a reaction from Conley.
Yeah, I'm super proud of the way we showed up tonight. We kind of expected to come out with this kind of energy the way that our practice was a couple of days ago, and having time to just, get our legs and minds right for who we need to be going forward. And obviously we played our defense the way we want to play it to start the game, and that kind of set the table for, how we need to play on both ends.
You said that there are a couple of matchups from the playoffs last year that you guys seem to take personal. It seems like when you guys take matchups personally, you look like one of the better teams in the league. So what's the key of doing that on a night-to-night basis?
It's just trying to find that edge no matter who you're playing. Obviously, it's easy for us when we're playing Phoenix or teams that we've played in the playoffs before that we've got a lot of, film on and played a lot of games against over the last couple of years. But when we play other good teams, we got Detroit coming in, we got other big games coming up. How do we focus ourselves to get that same edge, that same mentality to go out there and be the best, Wolves team we can be going forward?
Is that motivating seeing that it's still in there? I mean, he hasn't played decent basketball even before those last 4 games, but just seeing what this team is capable of, is that a motivating thing as you move forward here to the end?
It's motivating and frustrating at the same time. It honestly is, because you look up and you're like, why weren't we doing that all season? Why weren't we doing that every game? And And, but yeah, I think we have a lot of room to improve. That's the positive. We know that we're not the team that we want to be yet. And, we still have, a couple more games to go before, we hit that playoff run. And, hopefully we're peaking at the right time.
Mike, with this version of Rudy, both sides of the floor, I guess what's the key to kind of bottling that? Why was that important tonight, and why is it important to bottle that up and have that going forward?
Man, when Rudy's playing his best ball, that's when we all playing our best ball. To be honest, that's when our team really functions the way it's supposed to function, and we just need him to continue to be aggressive. I think the fact that he was crashing the glass, trying to get second chance points and making extra plays for us, extending possessions for us, and defensively. Being that anchor that we count on, just being able to, return a guy 2 times and he's there to clean it up. And, we kind of been missing that on a consistent basis, from his standpoint and our standpoint of being on the same page. So if we can continue to get him involved early, continue to get him playing with that sense of urgency, man, it's who we want to be.
Seems like there's, I don't know whether it's the matchup of the opponent or game plan specific, but there's games where Julius is more of a in playmaker mode. How do you play off of that and read how you're going to play as the point guard when he's like that, or maybe it's not that game?
Yeah, no, it's been an ongoing thing with me, especially. I'm used to having the ball, and when I know it's a game where he's going to be, dominating the ball and making plays, I run my butt off to the corners. I run, to space. I try to get ahead of the play and try to play off the catch a lot more. Catch and dribble, drive, make plays for guys that way, and it works. It works for our team, especially because he's so willing to make the right read and make the right play, and he plays with such pace. And I just got to be ready to adjust to that, on a nightly basis.
I can talk a little bit about finding the edge. You guys had quite a few games this year where you essentially lead from start to finish. What do you see as kind of the common denominator in some of those games where you're just able to kind of dominate both sides?
Honestly, I think in those games, the individual parts of the games where people worried about if they got fouled or if they scored or they turned it over, all that stuff doesn't matter. I think we're just playing in a flow state, a zone. It's, hey, we don't care what bad just happened. We're getting back on defense. We're not talking to the refs. We're not arguing, and we're focused on just what we're doing. And you just feel that as a team, and you can tell from the bench down, it's just energy. Guys off the bench cheering for each other, happy for the next guy. Keeping that kind of positive vibe for 4 quarters is basically, what happens in those type of games.
First time I met that nigga, I was like, no way you got kicked.
What's that?
Your burst.
My burst?
Yeah.
Push. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm turning up. Yeah, that's time. Yeah, I told Ann I'm ready to ISO. We going ones tomorrow. 2 dribble max, though.
Man, I'm going to make that nigga feel like he thirsty.
2 dribble max, though. I'm put him in the post. Yeah. Yeah, he like to pat the ball a lot and all that. Nah, I go straight jab shot.
So good.
Yeah, I feel good.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
Mike Conley and the Timberwolves will stay here at Target Center to host the Pistons on Sunday, and then they are going on a 5-game road trip that starts in Denver and moves on to Brooklyn. Those are the next 3 games for the Timberwolves. So Detroit is having an incredible turnaround season, the number 5 seed in the East currently, on a 3-game winning streak, including beating the Cavaliers on Friday by 11.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so impressed with what J.D. Bickerstaff has been able to accomplish with this team. You think about last season, they won 14 games. This season, they've won 41 games already, right? So they've really invested in Cade Cunningham. He didn't play tonight, but you're talking about Tobias Harris. He's been playing well, right? Tim Hardaway Jr. is playing well. Malik Beasley. He is shooting the ball extremely well. So this is a different Pistons team, and they are playing well. They're playing fast. They play with a lot of pace. They play, they get a lot of points, fast break points. They get points off turnovers. So they try to get downhill as much as they can, but then they have Malik Beasley on the perimeter, who Anthony Edwards is dueling it out for 3-point total makes this season. So it's going to be an interesting game, but again, Wolves have to stay the course, figure out how to build on their wins, because the Clippers and Golden State won tonight. So they weren't able to make up any ground with this win. So they just have to continue to handle their own and win some of these tough games that they have coming up.
The Timberwolves are still in 8th place in the Western Conference with 8 games left to play. The next one will be on Sunday night, hosting the Pistons. Tonight, though, the Timberwolves take care of business against the Phoenix Suns. 124-109, the final score. 8 left to play in the regular season. We'll see you again on Sunday night. Wolves and Detroit from Target Center.